team and just to provide the information on this and what this means for our particular districts.
Councilmember, there will of course be a public information campaign because this is a ballot item, so we need a campaign with it. In addition, I trust a number of council members who are concerned about passage of the CIP will go on the road and talk about what the projects are. Those projects are the existing CIP, as I said, and those projects that were identified in the facilities assessment as the critical needs. Those are absolutely identified projects, and we can talk to the public about those, and they deserve the right to know. The additional funds that are available for the CIP are things that are still, the projects are yet to be identified, not because we don't want to identify them, but we think that knowing that we have more needs and we have money, we are going to have to prioritize, and that is what the CIP process is. As you are aware, all those public meetings we do in February of each year going out to the community, that's where we hear from them. There was a reference made to the Alief Library. Previously I had meetings with Councilmember Wong, who happens not to be here today, but he has already indicated his desire to move his CIP money around to accommodate that library, and we're going to work with him closely. But there will be, in addition to what we do out in the community, 3 public hearings on this fund.
Okay, and one other question that I think I've heard Councilmember Sullivan ask earlier was about, and I guess it's just for public information and for our audience sake, is that we do have some projects that are very, very expensive, but that would include maybe tax hikes. How do we make that determination, you know, where the cutoff was to say we don't want to include raising taxes, but we even know that particular project may cost millions of dollars, but it don't fall into that $410 million scope?
There were references to, yes, it is true that the much needed police complex is not in this bond election, and the much needed replacement and our solution to the jail is not in this bond election. There was only so much money, and as I stated, we worked from what can we afford backwards.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a couple notes. And I do agree that we may have to deal with some of our finances, and I believe that's why I'm in full support of the task force to figure out what we need to do to get our stuff together, and so on and so forth. And I agree that, you know, the fact that, you know, we need to maintain our facilities. And for one, you know, I have had some input with the mayor and administration about the parks, because I felt that, you know, I was not going to champion for this bond if my parks, you know, were not going to be adjusted. And, you know, through conversations and then going out with Joe Turner to look at other parks and see what Pleasantville Park is going to look like, you know, to me, I'm satisfied. I'm not speaking from just a district council member, and we're going to push the issue and let the people in District D as well as in Pleasantville know what's coming up and what to look for, and if they're forward, then it's going to be forward. But I'm looking at a quality of life issue for me. When you look at District B, we don't have a lot of cars to get out of the district. We have to rely on our community parks. We need to rely on assistance so the people in our neighborhood, not in my district, can feel better about themselves. That's one of the first steps. We're looking at quality of life. And I've been in, you know, this is no shot to anyone. I've been in District E forever, and that's just, in certain areas, it's just not a necessity. But in particular areas, you know, there is. But District B needs it. And so the question is, when do we stop? Should we have stopped borrowing years ago to, you know, balance our budget? But now, so you asked this district council member to say, okay, we need to stop and fix it now. But what about my district? We just can't stop now. I understand, you know, you need to maintain facilities. I understand we need to get a handle on it. But you know, I do agree we need to prioritize in our spending. But right now, you just cannot ask a community to go without. You know, in every at-large constable, whatever, they will go by Pleasantville and ask them for their vote. And I told them, I said, you don't need to give them another vote until you get something out of it. And my exact words. And right now, it's time. It's time for the people to be heard, and they need certain things. So again, this might not be the right time. I don't know when the right time is to stop asking for money, but services need to be rendered to the constituents of District B, and I'm sure there's other districts that feel the same way.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I have to concur with Councilmember Davis in this instance. If you look at the existing CIP and you look at the allocation of resources relative to District K, there is disparity. And I want to thank you, Mayor, for allowing us to have the dialogue to talk about how we can, if you will, bridge some of that gap. I have had the opportunity to not only meet with the parks folks as well as the public service, health and human services folks, public safety, every aspect to this particular bond, and I'm confident that the residents of District K, that this would be in their best interest. And so, while in the beginning, I wasn't there, and it took me a while to get there. I am pleased with the transparency that has been afforded me. Now, granted, I did have to go get it, but I was able to get it, and I appreciate that. And so I will be supporting this particular measure, and I will be asking my constituents to do so as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. In response to Councilmember Costello's statement, the scenario 5 presumes a 4% property tax growth and projects a deficit of $1.3 billion. I think that it doesn't say what the assumption is with regard to sales tax, but I think 4% property tax growth is reasonably enthusiastic. So, but if we do have better numbers than this, you know, why don't you bring them forward? I'm just relying on numbers that were presented in February of this year, but it creates a very serious problem. The second point I'd like to make is that even without the issuance of additional debt based upon the attachment to the mayor's memo that went out, I believe, last Friday, it's dated August 14th, the debt service between now and 2020 is going to increase from $225,000 to about $225 million up to about $315 million. That's without regard to the issuance of any additional debt. That's $90 million. It's a very significant percentage and a very significant problem. But above that, I mean, the point that I really want to make here is, as I stated before, we're going to be asking for a reduction of the pension payments, of the health benefit payments, or we're going to have to reduce salary as a percentage from 42% down to 27%. And so I think that the process by which we consider and authorize additional debt, which is also slated to increase from 9 to 12.58, it's very, very important that we, as I said, are very careful with the way we spend money that we have control of. So, and to set a standard, I just think I agree with Councilmember Bradford that we need a more public process for all of this, and it's just a infinite consideration of the necessity for each one of the projects. We're all for these projects. I mean, an example of what might be done, instead of voting $100 million for parks right now, we might for the trail improvements, we might vote $25 million. And if it's matched, we would have $50 million. I'm convinced that that's a process that we will learn as we do, and $50 million is a very substantial amount of money to spend in the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's just an example of the way that the bond referendum might be reduced, and I just think we need to make every effort to reduce it to the extent we can in light of the payments that we're obligated to make. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember, I do appreciate you acknowledging that I shared with council the exact debt payment schedule so that everybody could see prior to today what the future looked like. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this matter is definitely a matter of quality of life, because yes, in a sense, we are asking for some of our constituents to a majority of our communities actually to go without in many respects. But that also means that we are paying the price for the sins of the past and the current actions of today. It's unjust that we have to have less because of our current financial situation. But why make an unjust move today by increasing that injustice, if you will? We have a problem, we're gonna pay the price, we don't wanna pay it now. Why do we want to continue that bad actions? We talk about no new taxes. This is adding to the tax burden. $7 billion. In the last 10 years, our property tax supported debt has increased 74%. I think it's more than half of our property taxes goes to paying towards the pensions. The way things are, we do not have to worsen the situation. I don't think this bond election is going to have much support among the citizens of Houston. I think they're tired of the tax burden, and I encourage my colleagues to vote no on this. We do not need to worsen the situation. I understand there will come a time when we're going to have to pay. Look at some of these other cities. A couple of them, they're putting their employee wages down to minimum wage. I mean, we're not like any other city, but we're not immune. The math still adds up. Thank you. Councilor Priscilla.
Yes, Mayor, I just want to talk a little bit about the handout that you did give us about the projected debt service on the property tax rate. And in that particular handout, you will notice that the current amount of debt service is 16 cents and is projected to rise up to 18.5 cents, and then take a significant decline over the next 15 years or 11 years to 8 cents. So that is a very conservative approach to our debt financing. What's embedded in this particular chart, though, which I need to remind everybody, is the fact that there's an assumption here that we're going to sell $400 million worth of debt every 5 years. So it's not just this first issue, it's every 5 years. And you can see that we're still on a downward climb, a significant downward climb, and projecting out every 5 years $400 million. I want to talk a little bit about the prioritization. I want to remind my colleagues that our current CIP, the 5-year CIP, is unfunded the last 2 years. So yes, we have already prioritized projects, and yet we don't have the money to fund those projects. And so part of those projects, part of that CIP, is within this $400 million that we're asking the voters to approve. So I encourage everyone to support this particular program. Thank you.
Councilmember Bratton.
Thank you, Mary. It's commentary like that that has me concerned when I hear my colleagues say that we've prioritized the projects. When Councilmember Sullivan is sitting here as a district council member saying he was not involved in the process, and he is saying that a fire station is being proposed to be built in an area in his district where he thinks is not best served, that's just a concern that I have. The prioritization was made by, let me just leave it at that and say to my colleagues that maybe it's best to pass it on, because I do believe the voters ought to get the last say-so. And if we pass it on to the voters can express their will. We don't deny the voters their opportunity to do what they think is best. I'm not willing to shut my responsibility as an elected official, but I think some things the voters deserve an opportunity to weigh in on. You know, quite frankly, if someone asked me to explain, justify, or define the $410 million package, though I've gone through it, I understand it, I can explain it, but I don't know that I can justify all of it. As Councilman Pennington mentioned about the parks strategy that I in here, to do all the wonderful green things to improve the quality of life in our city and assist with public safety, the question becomes, do we do it in this manner now for the $100 million, or do we start with $20 million or some other amount? The can't justify those particular issues, but I am concerned when at-large council members are not involved in the CIP process, and I know that Councilmember Wong represents that 80th district out there, Mayor, but they elected me also in that 80th district out there as well. And I meet with those people, and they talk to me about the library, and I've talked to Councilmember Wong, and there are some differences about what we want, a library standalone at the location now enhancement, or moving to multi-purpose center. There's discussion out there in the community. Some of us would like to have input into some of this prioritization, and I would like to see the district council members, like Sullivan and others, on board supporting what is being built in their districts, or at least allow them an opportunity to be involved in the process before we go and build, particularly public safety facilities in a council person's district, and the district council person is saying, it's not right, it's not right, it's not what it should be. I am concerned about that. Thank you.
No other council members in the queue? Moving to a vote on the item. Favoring? Opposed? No. Item carries. Council members Pennington, Brown, and Sullivan voting no.